Okay, this is my 112 pound 36 volt Ulterra. Been having trouble with the deployment side of things since I did the steering unit replacement. What is happening is when I deploy it, it sticks in this first section. Once it gets out, the tilt motor operates, it goes up and down, it deploys normally. It's gotten to the point where now not only is it sticking, to solve that I give it a good push as it's deploying, and then what is happening now is the next section of moving out, it starts clicking in here. I've been thinking it was the belt, been mucking around with the tension and adjustment of the belt. Hasn't solved the clicking noise, and it hasn't solved the issue with the first section of the deployment sticking. So what I've been doing is, to get around that, is when it deploys I give the shaft a good push and it gets it out, operates as normal. But now it's time to replace it. I've got a new trim unit which has just arrived, so I'm going to take this one apart. I've got actually going to replace this one with a new one, get it up and running, and then I'll take this one apart and we can have a look at what the actual problem was. Okay guys, so the new trim unit is on. I have got the whole Minn Kota off the boat at the moment. I've set up this test bed here because it didn't go as smoothly as I hoped. I've got it linked up to a extension cable to my power, which is 36 volts. But anyway, here's what's going on. So So as you can see, the unit's fixed. It's operating as normal again, which is awesome. Now the issue was that when I was turning it on after installing the trim unit, it would do nothing. The remote there would say that the actual arm was stowing, and it wasn't, and there was nothing happening at all. So what I had to do was I had to do a trim motor reset, which was quite simple. Turn the power off, hold the button for 30 seconds until the green light comes on. That then takes you on to turning the motor off. When you turn it back on, you'll find that the remote is no longer paired with the unit, so I had to do a pairing by going through to system, pair, and then by pushing the Bluetooth button up here. Once that happened, I then had operating power and things started to look like they were working. The only other issue I had then is I had to do a steering reset because this unit was off center, and I noticed at the same time that it was jamming on this section here, which precludes to the original problem. I'll go into that in a second, but as far as a steering reset's concerned, you deploy the motor, put it into a angle. I'll show you that now. Okay, you pause it there, and then you can actually turn this at the unit to straighten it up. Then you turn it off at the power, then you start it back up, and then it should operate normally and center itself on here. Now that brings me to the main issue. So I noticed it was doing that on the original trim unit, and what was happening was it would jam on this part here, which would cause it to not want to deploy very easily. And then I've taken the old trim unit apart, I've been through it, the motor's clean, there's nothing wrong with that. The only thing I did notice was around this region here. You can see a lot of black build-up, which looks to me like the Minn Kota was jamming on there, causing pressure on here. So it would be jamming on here to start with, it would get off, it would be fine, but then as the belt got more and more pressure and tension on it, it started eating itself, I guess. So it looks like I can just replace that belt, but it looks like it stemmed from the original problem, and that being this unit not being set to the steering neutral position, which was just causing pressure on here. So she's all done. Okay, so the unit's back up on the boat. She's all good to go. So just to recap, if you want to save yourself some time and money, make sure that this unit here is set horizontal, because if it's not, it's causing a lot of pressure under here, which is causing pressure up here, and as you can see from the previous video, it was actually translating into making that belt strip. So easily done, bit of maintenance. If you want a link, there's a link in the description to the Minn Kota method of setting the steering unit, and I advise that if you're having any problems or issues with deployment, look at that as your first option.